Today I'm going to be asking a question that a lot of Christians seem to be asking, specifically parents or just curious people like myself. And the question is, can Christians play games? And as you can see there, I put, is it biblical? Because that's what we want to look at. We don't want to look at, our own opinions. They're cluttered with flesh and emotions. We could be saying, yeah, we're allowed to play games, but we probably say that because we want to play games. We'd be like, no, Christians shouldn't play games. And we say that because, I don't play games anyways, it's no big deal to me. So, we really need to be looking at, what does the Bible say? And when I did that, when I looked at why would the Bible... Now, the Bible never talks about video games. So what I had to ask myself was, what's in the Bible that would tell me I shouldn't play video games? And when I did that, I came up with 2 reasons why we shouldn't play games. The first reason is the morality issue. And that's when Jesus said, if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. If your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. So if games cause us to sin, we should get rid of them. And I made this here 4 main things that games can cause us to think. That 4 main things in video games that can cause us to sin. And I went through them based off of how common they are. You do have to keep in mind these are things in the game, not the game itself. And the first one is frustration, which can lead to anger. I know a lot of people get frustrated when it comes to games, and they get angry, and it causes them to sin in their anger, and because of that, it can be considered a stumbling block. Although, to combat this, all you have to do is make sure you don't get frustrated. Play a game on an easier difficulty, take a break, whatever you gotta do. The second thing is language. Listening to people swear can cause us to slip a few words out. We should never listen to language or swearing because it causes us to swear. A little bit of swearing doesn't cause me to swear, but when a game has lots of language, I either don't play it or I keep the volume off. And so we need to keep that in mind, that games with language can cause people to sin, and that's a reason why we shouldn't play games or certain games. The second thing is games can be addictive. I once read a story about a man being so addicted he starved himself playing games. But even if we're not that addicted, we're addicted enough where we're taking our eyes off God. That's the main point. And once we get to that point, we need to stop playing games for a while. Try to slim it down, 2 hours a day at the most, and stop being addicted. Take some action over that. The fourth thing that causes us to sin that's in video games is nudity, and that can cause us, as it says, to think some nasty thoughts. And Matthew 5:21, I put that there, where Jesus says, if you look at a woman with lust, you've already committed adultery in your heart. And some video games that have nudity or even low cut dresses or whatever can cause us to stumble. Not always. That's why I like to abstain from all games with nudity in them. The second reason why we probably shouldn't play video games is, if we can't do it in real life, why can we do it in a game? Now this is a big question that I ask myself every time I think of buying a new game. What am I going to do in it that I shouldn't do in real life? Now, stealing is one thing I probably shouldn't do in real life. I mean, it's against the Ten Commandments. It's against what Jesus taught. And so I shouldn't do it in real life. Why can I do it in a game? Why would I practice sin in a video game? Why would I virtually sin? Many games have things such as stealing, killing of innocents. So when the Bible tells us not to sin, not to do this, why do we do it in games? That's a good question to ask yourself. I'm not going to go into detail with that. I'm just going to move on. Okay, so if games cause us to sin, and in them we virtually sin, then why do Christians still play them? Why should we still be allowed biblically to play video games? And I would say that we are allowed to play video games under conditions, such as as long as they don't make us stumble, as long as we're not practicing sin in them, then we're okay. We also don't want to indulge ourselves with magic that can be portrayed in video games. Although not all magic is bad, because Lord of the Rings has magic, and I will be doing a video on the different types of magic and why some magic is okay for us to be entertained with, and why other magic, dark magic, is simply witchcraft and should be abstained at all costs. But moving on, I put this here that there are that if we are doing what is right in the game, then we can rightfully play it in moderation. See, nothing in excess is good for us, obviously. Everything in moderation. So we really need to take caution, especially in games rated T, rated M. Yep. Remember, games like Grand Theft Auto, whose major sell point is the ability to run over people and steal cars. Grand Theft Auto, the name, steal cars, rob banks, go into strip clubs. Or Far Cry, which has stuff that you should not play those games. But then you have games like Mario and Minecraft, which are innocent and fine as long as you play them in moderation. They're not going to cause me to sin. They're not going to cause me to, be a stumbling block. And it's not a stumbling block. And I'm not practicing sin in it. I'm not doing anything evil in it. And so, in that case, it's fine.